Hi, she's Trixie, and I'm Sarah, and this is Our Yarn World, a place where we come to share the love of yarn crafts and all that it gives us and what we hope it gives you. We're on episode 180 today, and we're excited to share what we have been able to accomplish this week, these last couple of weeks. I know that we weren't here last week, but we are just getting into the groove. Today's the last day of school for my daughter. About a month ago was the last day of school for my son. And he was in like preschool. She is in regular grade. So, kindergarten and up. And so, we are just now fully getting into the swing of summer, fully getting into the new schedules and figuring out how to make things happen, hobbies, and life work around having a lot more people at home, a lot more free time, but also a lot more extra steps because you have more people around.
More distraction.
So, we are just having to learn new things as it goes along. So, yeah. But I'm excited to see how much my mom has gotten done for her project. And I think that she's excited to see what I have to share today as well.
Yeah. I was able to finish the crocheting part of this pillow. So the bottom is now sewed. And I have a gap at the top. And yesterday I made a pillow out of drop cloth, and so this way the stuffing will not come through the holes in the pillow for whoever should get it. I don't want any of the stuffing coming out, so
through the stitching.
Yeah.
Here, I can hold it.
Okay, so we're gonna do this on screen. And now all I have to do is sew up the sides with my yarn that I've already got on the needle. Mm-hmm. I already got it tied. I can do this as soon as this video is over with. I can whip stitch this together and I will have a pillow. Now I don't know whether I'm keeping it or giving it to somebody else. Your daughter claimed this one too. Nana, are you making that for me?
No.
I'm just like...
Not everything's for all y'all.
Yeah, I'm just like, well, I was thinking about giving it to somebody else. So, we'll see. One thing about children, if they don't see it for a little bit, they might forget about it.
No, it's not always the case for mine, but yeah.
I know, but I mean, if she hasn't seen this pillow in a while, and she might have forgotten about it already.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, and if I give it to somebody else, it won't be remembered.
And even if it is, another one can be made.
Yes. So, now that we know how to do it, we can just keep pumping them out if we want to. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm going to have a finished pillow today, and it's really kind of neat how it just is, like when you have the materials to do what you want to get done, it is so awesome. You know, I had the pink, I had the black, I had the crochet hook, I had the pattern. And then I also had the drop cloth. I thought about that the other day and I'm like, well, I don't know if I have material that would go with that, but the drop cloth should. And cutting it out, you just have to sew up the two sides, stuff it, and then sew the top. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that hard to do at all. I mean, it took me maybe an hour yesterday to get that all done. The hardest part was getting the top sewed because with the stuffing in it, it's hard on the machine to get that big old lump into, next to the needle enough that you can get that sewed. And I do have a little, just full disclosure, I do have a little bit of it that did not get sewed, but I can do that by hand. And, you know, no problem there. So, but it was nice just to have it all, you know, knowing that you can do it yourself. If you want something, you can make it yourself, is such a satisfying deal. And I think that's what Sarah is able to do too, you know, and that her nephews and her nieces have figured out that Aunt Sarah can make things. And so let's see what she's got in store.
Okay, so I have a history of setting up an expectation of making characters out of my art of like toys and action figures, things are not normally mass produced. So things, you know, like video game characters, or, you know, just specific dinosaurs or whatever thing that it's like, to, you know, you can go to the store and get a stuffy, but if they're looking for something specific, they normally come to me because I'm a little bit more on the nose about what they're gonna get.
A little bit more detailed.
Well, with one of my nephews, I've been doing video game characters. He's really enjoying the video game characters I make him. And him and I have a love for a very specific video game, and we were talking the other day, and he looked at me, he's like, you know, the Skull Kid from Majora's Mask, can you make him with a Majora's Mask on? And I was like, and I honestly had to take a minute, because that character has so much detail. I'm talking down to the jewelry and the belting and the mask, and the fact that the character is actually made out of wood and all these different things. I was like, okay, yeah, I probably could. I can try. Well, then the other day, I was getting materials together because I was thinking in my head how I was going to make them. I was like, are you wanting an action figure that is a displayed art piece, or is it going to be something that you want to play as a toy? And he said toy. Which honestly made that more difficult because of all the texture differences that the character has, me wanting to take the time to make it a little bit more detailed and maybe a little bit more... I want the textures to be well shown. I was struggling because one of the first ideas I had was to use a small mannequin. So you know how if you're in the crafting section a lot, like we are, a lot of hobbies are represented, such as drawing, and they have like that little mannequin.
Yeah.
I was thinking about getting that.
Yeah.
And just staining the wood the right color, wood burning, because I have a wood burning kit, some of the details I needed.
Yeah.
The character and the scale of the mannequin that I found was too big.
Oh.
Because the Skull Kid, as I'm saying, is a child. It
Right.
is a kid. And the only ones they had were of adults. So it was too tall. And so I was like, fine. Well, then I was like, okay, well, I could still try to make it of wood or make it out of materials such as wood. But then I need joints, because if I'm making it a toy, I need joints. So I was trying to get wooden beads that had a full hole through it, so I could use the wooden beads to create joints.
Yeah.
And then maybe crochet with a very dark enough material or a fabric, or even use wood to then just wire together so that it could have that feeling of being like a wooden puppet or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't find that stuff. Amazingly enough, the wooden beads I was looking for, I couldn't find them. By the time I found them, I had already figured out my third option. So, whatever. So, no surprise, I went with my wire design. So I got a skeleton. I got a skeleton in the works. Here, let's see if you can. Yeah, you can see him. Got a skeleton of out of wire in the works, about the right scale. And I was starting to crochet on him because I need certain parts of him already pre-done. I'm not sure if all of him going to be crocheted, and the reason why I'm saying that is because I'm using actual materials and different fabrics and to be able to actually construct his clothes and to construct how he's going to how things are going to lay on him and fill in this space. It's not going to just be yarn. So but I need his head done. But I realized I could not do the head until I had the mask made. Now you would think, okay, well normally you would want the head dimensions there before you do the mask. But my problem was that for me to be able to figure out how I was going to attach the mask, I needed to have the mask made so I knew where to place certain beading and certain things to be able to attach the mask in the yarn as I was developing the structure of the head.
Okay.
So then I had to stop this. Because, why not? And I had to start what is actually probably the most stressful part of this experience, which is creating the mask. Now the mask is, it's a heart with kind of like horns that come out of it in different locations of its body, and I will show you a picture in a minute. The mask has some lore to it in the game. It kind of is, I don't know what it is, but if I'm remembering right, in the game, the mask itself holds a power or holds an entity that was banished into the mask.
Okay.
But when the mask is put on by any unsuspecting person, the mask will then use that person to then do its bidding by getting by kind of manipulating that person's anger or frustration and misguiding them to make very poor decisions based off of the power that the mask is able to give that person.
Okay.
And it kind of creates that skewed, it makes them overthink and overgeneralize and get and make very black and white decisions that they wouldn't normally make in their frustration or in their hurt had they not put on the mask, right? So so the mask looks like this. I kind of just made a picture of it because I was giving myself some of where the details were going to be and some of how the painting that I'm going to have to do on it. And I'm saying painting because I had two ways I was going to do this. Well, 3, 4. First I was thinking, okay, make it out of yarn. But the detail I was going to need to do for that wasn't wise. The fibers were going to break. And it was going to drive me nuts because the spacing and my ability to want to make it correctly was going to lead me to possibly getting frustrated. And I was going to have to start over way too many times.
Yeah.
My second option, which is an option I'm considering making as well as what I've made. I'm going to make that very clear. 2 is making it out of felt or fleece, that sort of material, where I kind of create it and then mold it and use a lot of Mod Podge with it and glues to kind of create like this stiff material, and then do beading for the detail on top so that I'm not worrying about painting or doing fine details, but like getting some of that detail that it requires on there without having to stress my body out. Number three, well, the next option, which would have been my preferred, but I'm not that talented, is actually making the mask out of wood, which is actually the lore of this mask, is that it is made out of a material that should not hold that much power, but it does. But for the scale size of this little guy, making a mask that has those points and all that fine detail was just going to be a pain in the butt. And if it broke, I would have cried after all the work that was going to take, because it wasn't going to be flat. It was going to have to be concaved to be able to fit the face.
Yes.
So, no. So I just went to Walmart and I got oven bake clay. That was like $1, by the way. And what I did was, with my sketching that I thought, because I use paper to be able to scale size to the size of the head. Then I used wire again, and I scaled size to that. I concaved to exactly what I wanted to be able to fit the basic structure of my head. And then I put clay all around it, and then I baked it. And this is what I got so far. I did get some of the details on there, but everything else is going to be painted, which is going to be the bane of my existence. Stay tuned. But what I did was I put these rings, like these jewelry rings on the inside of the mask right here, because my plan is, where is it? Oh, right here. I got like this jump ring enclosure set.
It's a claw.
I have
Lobster claw.
I got lobster claws in here. And I figured that I could place them properly in the design of the head as I'm crocheting and hide it underneath the hair, where my nephew could then place the mask on by clipping it on, and then it would stay. Now, here's the thing. I don't know how well this is going to stay. It's clay. It is possible to break. I think there's a reality that he might take this one very seriously.
Well, just tell him he's got to be delicate with it.
And I'm not saying that he won't be, because it's not that he won't be, but because of how much effort I'm putting into this, which, by the way, he challenged me. I don't hold him to the responsibility of my work. I am a perfectionist, so some of this is my own burden and my own, like, I'm putting this on myself, not him putting it on me. And he's a child. I'm offering my services. I don't expect him to know all the hard work I'm putting into this.
Yeah.
But I would like to say there's a part of me that with this, I'm not sure if I want this to be the part that is played with, which obviously that's what he wants, right? But I have it so that it's not actually glued onto the face, because I want him to be able to take it off and be able to see the Skull Kid's face, which is kind of cute because the Skull Kid's face actually looks like a bird's. He actually has like a beak for a mouth and nose. Okay. Which, like I said, I know it's kind of crazy, but it's in a video game and it makes sense if you know the game. Anyway, because, yeah, I'm not going to get into the story. But because this is so heavy, this is way too light to be able to hold it. So I actually have to put weighted beads inside this design to be able to offset the structure. Otherwise, this would be able to fall. Now, I'm not saying that he's supposed to be able to be held, but I'm thinking about giving my nephew the ability to have a stand for him so that he's able to, when he's playing with him, he has something to be able to help him prop him up.
Yeah.
To be able to play with him so that there's a little bit of help. But like I said, I don't know. Now, I'm making this. I will give it to him. At the end of the day, it is still going to be his. But I'm considering, and hear me out, I like how lifelike this is. To the game, this is going to be very realistic, like the scale and everything. It's going to feel very good. But I'm thinking about still attempting to make the felt one. Because if he wants to play with the dolls is not what I'm worried about. The doll will survive. clothes I can remake, doll I can remake. The detail that I'm doing with this mask is my problem. So what I'm thinking is after I figure this out, I'm thinking about still attempting to do the felt beaded one or the fleece beaded one and making it a really stiff material and keep like almost like how people do with that denim, and they kind of like Mod Podge and keep layering until it becomes so stiff of a material that they're able to carve and like mold and things.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about doing something like that because I want him to be able to have this thing where it's something that he can display, because as he grows older, he's less likely to play with them and more likely to display some of the stuff I've made him, which is more where this is coming from. I don't know how else it's going to hold up and play. Now, there's a part of me that's like, I did make it out of clay. I did bake it. These tips I did reinforce with metal. I only had done the heart framing, but then as I had, packed it on with the clay, I stuck wire through the clay as it was getting leathery, and then started adding on more of the tips around that wire. So the wire is not wrapped around the frame, but it's still there inside the pokes. They're not just freehand. They have something they're holding on to.
Yeah.
So it's not like all these are just gonna snap off, but they could if they get stepped on. They could if something, if he accidentally...
If it
drops, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if the direction I've gone through with this mask is the right one. I don't know if this is gonna...
I think it's cool.
I like it. I mean, I would keep it. That's the thing. I made it where it makes sense that maybe this would be more displayed. But he wants a toy. And I'm debating, because even though I have a very, very... I know he would be respectful of anything I give him. There's a level of I don't expect him to be anything less than a kid that wants a toy that he's asking me to make him. So I'm struggling. By next week, we'll have more further update. There's a part of me that's like, okay, let's just paint it. Let's see how well I get that done. Because like I said, if I do the fleece, I still don't know how I'm going to do that. The color changes, the ombres, the way that this mask is so colorful. It's easier to paint. It's easier to color. It's easier to... I even looked to see if there was a keychain of Majora's Mask that I could then like engrave the back out of and then be able to fit it on. That way I didn't have to do the mask. Yeah. There's nothing. I can't find anything. The keychains for Majora's Mask are more like a pendulum with the mask inside the circle.
Okay.
But it's not just the mask itself, just hanging off of a keychain that I could just... Because I thought about that. I did look that up too, because I was just sitting there being like, how can I make the mask a durable feature to this toy? Yeah. Without having to worry that that's going to be the part that breaks, because that's the part that makes this character special, is that he gets possessed and consumed by this mask. Right. And it's such a major arc in the story because this mask has so much lore, and I want that to be something he's able to tangibly have a part of his play, because that's the point of it. But I don't know. I don't know. It's cool that I was able to do this. I'm not saying that that's not cool. This is new for me. I've never done this sort of part of the hobby before where I construct in this way. It makes me very excited to think of what I could do with clay in the future with making some of my figurines. Yeah. Figurines and models where I can just use clay to create them instead
especially their faces.
Their faces, their bodies. Yeah. A display for them. Mm-hmm. Like, it would be really cool. But one step at a time. I'm still hoping that I dried this properly. Who knows? That could be the thing that breaks it. Oh, anyway, trying new things. My hobby's developing and it's scaring me. Help. But like I said, part of me just knows that I just have to see it through. I have to see what happens. And this one might stretch my comfort zone and my capabilities, and that's a good thing, because I will learn something new. and I just have to see where that takes me.
Exactly.
So, yeah, come around for my insanity ride. Because I did this just last night, and it was terrifying.
Well, it looks good, though.
I appreciate that.
Well, we have a quote from our friend Jane. And remember a couple of weeks ago when we did the first quote, she had given us two. Well, this is the second one. And it says, procrastination is totally a good thing. You always have something to do tomorrow, plus you have nothing to do today. I love that.
Listen, I want that with an AI voice generated that I could just send as an audio memo to people when they ask me what I have and why I haven't gotten things done today. This is my Hakuna Matata, okay?
Yeah.
Okay?
Procrastination is totally a good thing. You always have something to do tomorrow, plus you have nothing to do today.
It means no worry.
I just love it. It is. You don't even have to give an explanation for that one. It's just you use your imagination.
I think what's funny is that it's a double-sided coin, right? Because I remember we were reading a Charles Dickens book. I think it was David Copperfield. And he was a teenager at the time in the development of the story. And he was friends or living with this married couple attached to the house that he was like either apprenticing, internship, or something with. And they were like friends or landscapers. I don't remember that part of the story, forgive me. But that man had a bit of a history with procrastination, being lazy. But then he had like this lucid moment and he looked at David and he was like, listen, procrastination is the thief of time. Like, just please be careful.
Yeah.
You'll wake up someday and realize what you haven't gotten done. And I'm not saying that that's not what this is about. This is about giving yourself permission to relax.
Yeah.
Because that's the difference. There's people who don't give themselves the permission. There's people that almost give themselves too much permission that they are enabling so much of their like avoidant behavior that it completely destroys their life. Obviously, two different spectrums, right? But because there's a balance. There's always a balance, and this is a really good reminder that sometimes life can slow down, life can wait. You can put your phone on silent. You can put you can turn the news off. You can choose.
You can put your to-do on tomorrow.
Yep. And this is something I tell my daughter all the time. We choose to fight for our happiness. We have to make a choice right now to choose to fight for our happiness. Because right now everything feels so big. When she has her big emotions, I'm just like, we are choosing to fight for our happiness right now. So sometimes we have to choose for ourselves how we love ourselves. And sometimes that means this can be tomorrow's problem. Right now, I'm good.
Yeah.
Right now is a moment of just right now I'm good. So we thank you for joining us today. Hopefully we're able to kind of give you some motivation to just chill. Enjoy your Friday or whatever day that you're watching this on. Normally we upload on Fridays, which is why I'm saying that. But try something new. I know that with this, I had an image in my head as to where this could go. This isn't a bad place to start, but it also requires a lot of possible failure, and I am ready to see this through. Just as much as I'm willing to put it down and pick up a book, I'm willing to take a moment and rest with my kids. I'm willing to take the time because it's times best worth spent knowing that I was able to give myself and my family space too.
And like she tried something new this time, and so did I. So we're giving you permission to try something new as well.
Even if it means resting. Giving yourself permission to put stuff down and just walk away.
Or holding off until tomorrow because you haven't figured all the steps out or whatever.
Yep, give yourself permission to just relax. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be fun.
And give us a like, comment, subscribe, and tell all your friends.
Yes, we enjoy bringing our crafting, our hobbies, part of our life up with you guys every single week. I know some of these videos seem kind of just like maybe a small mantra. We're not really coordinated. We don't ever write down what we're going to say. We just kind of speak as if we were friends hanging out on the phone. We just wanted to say hi to you. We hope that that's enough, because we just want to be able to give you guys some time to be able to relax and not have to stress.
And this is us. This is just what we do.
So, as always, until next time, we thank you for joining us today. And until we can see you again, we hope that you stitch your way
To mental health.